Now, I'm sitting here on Friday night or Saturday, whenever it was Saturday, thinking
So,
about who do I want the Mavs to face, right? I don't want them to see the defending champs, right? I just think there's something about a defending champ. They've been there. They're going to pull through. I thought they were going to win that game yesterday, so I was surprised about that. But I look at the Mavericks and I think they this could be their year. This really could be their chance to win a championship. And the way they took care of the Clippers, the way as the 5 seed they went into Oklahoma and just handled the Thunder, all that explosiveness, all that youth, they just dominated. And I want to say how they dominated. They dominated with defense, Jimmy. I know that's hard to believe, but this has been the Mavericks' problem. This has been their issue. They've got these scores, but they can't play defense. So they went and got Gafford. They went and got Washington. Irvin's being a dog, right? So they're getting Luka even can grind it out when he needs to. This is important. They out rebounded Oklahoma City 47-31 and had a
woo,
27-8 edge in second chance points.
woo. That's
That
huge.
is huge. Now,
Huge for a 1 point game. That's huge.
we'll save this for our next show, but rebounding will be very interesting in the next series against the Timberwolves. So, Jimmy, how did the Mavs beat the top seed and clinch? They're the 5th seed. They went in and they just owned the number 1 seed in 6 games. How did they do that, Jimmy? Tell us.
So this is a loaded answer, okay? Because there's a lot of different factors. So let's start at the top. Let's start at Nico Harris, who's the general manager for the Dallas Mavericks, who pulled the trigger to get Washington and Gafford. I think they drafted um, Jones as well. So they got new blood in there, pulling the trigger to get Kyrie, typically in a moment when a lot of people were assassinating his character, really questioning his leadership. And then Jason Kidd. Jason Kidd, who's been a head coach for a couple of organizations, has some question marks, coming in, but I think is doing a wonderful job this year, mixing in the playing time and talent and keeping everybody happy. Um, and then you got Luca, who I think is so good that he feels like he could do everything. But I think the best thing he's been doing is allowing Kyrie, Washington, Gafford, the other players to really step up and play their role to the max. And then you got Kyrie coming in, and I think finally, feeling like he's at home, feeling like he can really be himself off the court and be his own man, which makes him a better player, and it permeates throughout the locker room. So that's a big long answer, but I really believe all those factors are hitting right now, and that's why the Mavericks are a 5th seed, because it took them a long time to kind of get it together, and now we're seeing the top product with the Mavs.
I think you bring up a good point that we haven't actually talked about on this show before, and we should probably explore in more episodes. Is Jason Kidd? I There's something I've seen him in other coaching stops. He seemed a little immature. Really, it was about Jason Kidd. This does not seem about Jason Kidd, and he really seems to have settled into a veteran coaching presence. And I think it's pretty impressive what he's doing. One other side note before we move on to Usk is I saw Dirk Nowitzki there, and I was thinking
Dirk was in
he
the
looks
house.
pretty good.
Yeah,
They
he
could have
did.
taken one of those jerseys out of the rafters and put it on, and he might have been able to give him a good 8 to 10 minutes in that
I
game.
think.
They could have used him.
Hey, listen, as a former player, I think our knees would tell you something differently. We may look good. We might be able to,
We didn't see him
get up
walk.
and down out of a seat,
Yeah,
and people
yeah,
be like, "Oh yeah, he moves pretty good."
yeah,
You might be able to walk through a crowd pretty
yeah,
swiftly and
yeah,
nimbly,
yeah.
but getting on that basketball court, that's a different animal.
We didn't
Different
we
animal
didn't see him
being.
walk to his we didn't we
He
didn't see
might
him
be able
walk
to hit
to
a
his
couple of
three.
shots, but he ain't
Yeah.
sliding his feet and he ain't bending at the waist playing no D.